Kelly Morgan. I'm the Chief Executive Officer here at Mercy Medical Center, and thanks everybody for coming out this morning. As everybody knows, we had a very tragic day here at the hospital in Roseburg yesterday morning. And first of all, I want to say that our hearts and prayers continue to be with the victims and the families. I know it's a very trying time for them. Also, we want to make sure that we provide support for our friends and family also out at UCC. Many of our employees actually were trained and educated out at UCC and taking care of our patients. Also, there's been a lot of outpouring of support that we've had from our other local hospitals here in Oregon as well as throughout the country. But I think probably even just as important is the team that took care of the patients that came yesterday. I got to tell you that the Mercy team of nurses, doctors, clinicians, support staff was absolutely phenomenal. On an annual basis, we take care of 50,000 people in our emergency department. We see many, many traumas throughout the year. I can assure you our team was ready. They were prepared. There was compassion. There was caring. There was professionalism. For all of us here at Roseburg, we couldn't be more proud of the hospital team that we had. We also had 10 people that came to us at the hospital. Dr. Jason Grays, our Chief Medical Officer, is going to give you a little bit of update on those patients that were here.
Jason Gray, Chief Medical Officer and anesthesiologist. So yesterday we received 10 victims from the UCC shooting. Of those, 3 were transferred quickly to a higher level of care. 2 were treated and released. 4 underwent operative intervention here. Of those, 1 has already been discharged and 1 will likely be discharged today. There was 1 that was deceased in the emergency room at arrival. The 3 that remain are expected to recover well, and at this point remain in stable critical condition.
And it's a small town. How do you train for a mass casualty incident like this?
We have community-wide training events for this exact situation as part of the Oregon trauma system. We're a level 3 trauma system, and we integrate with the level 2 and the level 1 trauma hospitals throughout the state.
Can you give us any indication on who these victims are? Young, old, male, female, anything like that?
They're mixed, male and female at this point, of varying ages.
And we also want to honor the privacy for the patients, so that's all we're going to provide for you today.
The age span I would say was on the younger side.
Doctor, if you could say again, there were 10 patients admitted here, and just explain that again. You just went over.
Sure. We received 10 patients from the UCC. Of those, 3 were transferred to a higher level of care for services which we don't have available. 2 of them were treated and released from the emergency room. 4 of them required operating room procedures. 1 patient was deceased in the emergency room. Of the 4 that underwent surgical intervention, 1 was discharged yesterday. 1 will likely be discharged today, and the remaining 2, 1 is in critical condition and 1 is in stable condition at this point.
Can you say what type of injuries?
All of the injuries were gunshot wounds to abdomen, thorax, head, extremities at this point.
Can you explain there's a disparity between the sheriff's office saying there were 7 people wounded and you're saying there were 10 people admitted here?
I cannot explain that. I know we received 10 patients in total. That's the information that I can vouch for.
Talk about the challenges dealing with when you have so many people coming all at once. How do you respond?
From a medical standpoint, we're trained for this. Obviously, it's an overwhelming situation, but we practice it. The outpouring of the community, the outpouring of our staff coming in on their days off, retired physicians coming in, nurses coming in, staff coming in. One of the challenges, honestly, is coordinating support for the friends, the family of the victims, and coordinating information. Been very difficult.
Dr. Gray, we've heard time and time again that everyone knows somebody who's been impacted by the shooting. Has this personally impacted you as well?
I have staff members who have been impacted, and at this point we do not know all of the names of the victims.
But for you personally, this is your town, to see this happen here, and just how do you cope with helping these people and dealing with the emotion of this at the same time?
That's been one of our biggest challenges is supporting not only the patients, the families, but our own caregivers, as Kelly mentioned. Yesterday was a challenging day. The days and the weeks to come will be the most challenging, and how do we continue to support our staff the family, the victims here.
You saying you don't know all the victims' names even as you guys have been taking care of them?
We do not know all the victims' names that are out there at the college.
Can you update, or do you know the condition of the victims up at Peace Health in Springfield at all? Been in contact with them?
I have not been in contact with them this morning.
Okay, but you said they were the more severe, more life-threatening injuries?
The patients were transferred to Peace Health that required services which we don't have available, typically neurosurgery.
The one person that is deceased, is it in addition to the 10 that were announced yesterday, or it's...
You know, I
Yeah.
cannot vouch
Yeah,
for those
we don't know
numbers.
if that's one of the 10 or not. We don't know that.
But again, all four here that were admitted here are expected to survive, to do well. One's
Yes,
already out,
correct.
another one leaving today.
Correct.
In your background, doctor, have you seen something of this nature before?
In a small community like this is the first time in a small community. At larger facilities, and as Kelly mentioned, it really shows how the community came together. We look at our first responders, the law enforcement officers, the staff here, our nurses, the community outpouring. We've received support from across the country. It's quite amazing. Pizzas delivered from hospitals in Louisiana and Georgia, coffee from the local coffee places. It really shows the best in a community, unfortunately.
Doctor, can you explain your emotions when they showed up, and you as well, Kelly, if you could? First, the doctor.
You know, the initial emotions are disbelief. That can't be happening here. And then it's focused on treating the patients on that. And then us and the staff, you go through the rest of the range of emotions, from disbelief, from anger, from sadness to resolution. And you know, it's less than 24 hours. It's still very raw for a lot of people, and I think you'll find many people are quite numb.
Okay, what is next for you and the staff here? You have 2 more people that you're tending to, and then what?
Is it 2 or 3 more people?
There are currently 3 here. One will likely be discharged today, so there will be 2. So we will continue to focus as a hospital on the well-being and the medical care of them, and then the emotional support of the family, the victims, and especially our staff here.
Yeah, we have our pastoral care team ready to go to have some time with our employees today, as well as early next week, so they can walk through the emotional trauma also.
The people who have been transferred, can you describe the difference of their injuries compared to those who have stayed?
The 3 that were transferred were either services that we don't provide here, or that in our state trauma system met the criteria to be transferred to a level 1 or a level 2 trauma center.
That was in Springfield that they were transferred?
Correct.
Peace Health Sacred Heart Medical Center, they sent out a news release to us last night saying 2 are listed as critical and 1 in serious condition. Have you heard that as well?
That would fit with the description at the time of transfer.
Do either of you know anyone personally at the school, or have any family members of your own at the school?
Well, I think all of us have, you know, different family members and friends that either work out there or are students. You know, obviously we don't know who the victims are at this time, but I will assure you every single person here at the hospital in our community will be impacted by somebody out at UCC.
When can we expect another update on victims, or at least the conditions of the victims you have here?
Once we know an update on the 3 people that are still here, I'm sure we'll send out a press release on that. For the victims out at the college, that's something you'll need to work with the sheriff's office on.
Kelly, what?
We understand that the shooter was also treated here. Can you talk about his treatment?
We do not believe the shooter was treated here.
Kelly, what can the community do to help you?
You know, I think this is a time of trying to pray as much as we can, and to be peaceful and to be supportive of each other. The other thing that the community can do, we are going to have a blood drive later today at our community center. That'll be at noon. So if people want to participate in that, that would be really helpful. But I also think just spending time with friends and family to support them as we walk through this. We know it's going to be a long process of grieving as well as support. So that's what we're going to need from everybody here in Roseburg.
Do you have also other people who were in shock and had to be admitted or hospitalized or seen at the ER?
I'm sorry.
People who were in shock, not necessarily the injured people, but relatives who like collapsed or had a really bad.
None of those were admitted, but obviously a lot of emotional and a lot of pastoral support for those.
So
those
you're-
families.
And our mental health professionals, you know, are available, you know, for people here also, you know, whether you're employees or whether it's other people in the community. So I think the mental health providers are going to be available. So that's what we want to coordinate also with the community.
You're saying definitive
shooter was not treated here. Correct? I want to make sure I understand.
To the best of our knowledge, the shooter was not treated here.
Thank you guys very much.
You bet. All right, thank you.
Support for the community. Thank you.
Your name again, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Kelly Morgan.
Could you spell both of those?
KELLYMORGAN.
And what's your title?
Chief Executive Officer.
And the doctor's name, please?
Dr. Jason Gray, JASONGRAY.
And since I got here just a little late, could you just tell me overall how the hospital is doing and the staff and
Yeah, you know, yesterday was a very tough day for the hospital staff. Everybody came together. It was a great team effort with the nurses and with the doctors and with all the support and clinical staff. As I shared with the group earlier, it was a phenomenal team effort that we had with the team, and it's something that I think all of us can be proud here in Roseburg for the compassion and for the caring that our staff did in taking care of the patients that came over here.
obviously you